Okay, guys, got a quick story to share with you about how I lost everything. Literally everything I had and went broke. No money. I even went into debt. Had zero to my name, negative zero to my name. Owed my American Express a couple $100,000. I was in the hole. And my girl left. Not a good time. But I'm going to share this story with you because I think there's a lot to learn from it. And you might be in this situation now, or you might be in this situation in the future now that we're going to be entering a recession. Well, we're already in one. So, here's what happened. Okay. And I briefly touched upon this story in the past, but I'm going to give you a bit more details tonight. How I lost everything and literally went broke. I mean, I could not even afford to buy a McDonald's cheeseburger. That bad. I was scrounging around in my 92 Jeep Cherokee Laredo. It wasn't a Grand Cherokee. It was 92 Jeep Cherokee Laredo looking for change. Yeah. And I mean, that was a much older car too at the time when I had it. I mean, it was already 2000. So this happened during the 2000 stock market crash. Okay, and there are actually two times I went broke in my life, but this is the one I'm talking about. The first one, the stock market crashed. This was during the dot-com bubble, as they call it. And so essentially what happened was I had had a few businesses in the 90s. I had accumulated a little bit of savings. It wasn't a whole lot, but it was a pretty good amount of savings. And I proceeded to because I wanted to buy a house. I had a girlfriend at the time, and man, women will always screw you up. And this is why you can't make decisions based on women. I learned that lesson. You have to make decisions based on what's best for you, right? And she's just come along for the ride. So what I did was, because we were house shopping, and I really didn't have enough for the down at that time, and the stock market was taking off. This is when, the dot-com boom was happening. I involved myself with a few stocks at the time were like dirt cheap compared to where they are today. I mean, I can't even believe I bought into Amazon. I remember I bought Amazon. I had a good number of shares of Amazon at one point, man. I think I had I want to say close to 1,000 shares of Amazon. It was like at $15, right? I had a lot of Amazon. I had bought into Starbucks. I had bought into eBay. And then a few Cisco. I remember I bought into Cisco, and I also bought in this company called Redback. I don't even know if they're still around, but either way, I dumped all my money into these stocks. It seems like almost immediately, and I've still had this problem since, right? I'm just not lucky in the stock market, right? But at least now I have dividend stocks that pay me a monthly stipend to hold them. But regardless, so within like a day or two of me buying the stock, they immediately started dropping. I mean, unbelievable timing, right? If I had just held off for a day or two, me and my girl used to fight a lot. So if we just fought during that time, I probably wouldn't have been researching stock, right? I would have been focused on like us fixing things, because that's how I was back then, blue pill. Right? I probably would have stayed off stock market, but it was probably the 1 week we didn't fight. We always fought. That was the 1 week we didn't fight. And since we weren't fighting, I was like, oh, perfect time to buy stocks. Bought these stocks with all the money I had in my account. I did not really tell her about it, right? I didn't want her to freak out, but I wanted to get the money for a down payment. And so we could pick up one of these houses. And sure enough, right after I buy these stocks, within like the next 48 hours, they start going down in value very quickly. And I was just trying to brace myself for the ride. And a lot of people were like, just hold it. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Just hold it. It'll be fine. It'll come back. And back then I was still new to the market, so I panic sold. So what I did was I panic sold all the stocks. I lost a bunch of money, and then the stocks went down further. And so I was like, oh, I'm going to buy back in. It's cheaper. So I bought back in at cheaper, thinking it was going to go up. It did go up for one day. And then the next day after that, it proceeded to continue to drop. And so I was literally losing like 1,000 plus a day. Sometimes more than that, like 2,000 or 3,000 per day. Just out the window. Stock market was crashing. And foolishly, for some reason, I let my money ride. Let it ride. Right? And then it got to the point where I didn't even want to look at my account because I didn't want to know. It was just too much for me to handle. I just didn't look at it, right? Until finally I was forced to look at it because we needed to take care of some bills, me and my girl. And I needed to take care of my credit card bill. And I remember I went to my account and there was almost nothing in there. I was like, it's all gone. I can't even pay my credit card. What am I going to do? Right? I was like... And sure enough, I didn't want to tell her, right? Because I was like, last thing I want to do right now is fight. And she quickly found out because we were going out to eat. And I was like, can you get this? I kept going, can you get this? Like 2 or 3 days in a row, can you get this? Usually we're pretty 50-50 on this. So that was a positive about her. Like she didn't really expect me to pay for everything. She was always pretty 50-50. So she was like, what's going on? How come you don't have money? Right? And that conversation came up real quick. And I just said, I don't know what happened. Freaking stock market. I sold the stocks. Now they're not worth anything. They're just, it's ridiculous. She's like, how much is in there? And I'm like, pretty much nothing. Like $50, you know? I mean, it was just gone, right? It's almost like somebody just came in and wiped me out. And so she was really upset. And more than upset, she was nervous. She was like, literally asked me, what are you going to do next? I remember we were sitting at Arby's in Lakeshore Plaza, which is not far from where my parents live. And we're at Arby's because, you know, we used to go to Arby's for some reason, but I don't even know if they're still around. But we went to Arby's, and I was having one of those roast beef cheese sandwiches. I couldn't even enjoy it. I was like, because I was trying to figure out what I'm going to do. And she was sitting there just looking like mentally she was already gone. I remember I looked at her. I was like, this chick is gone. You know? And she stayed for probably another less than a month. Probably a week and a half, 2 weeks, I think. I mean, it was a while ago, so I can't really recall that like exactly. But she stayed for probably another couple of weeks, if that. And I remember I was like, during those 2 weeks too, we were fighting a lot more than normal. She was literally picking fights with me. I mean, any little thing I did, she would just blow up. I mean, just the smallest things. Because at least things we fought about were usually jealousy things back then. Blue pill me. You know, whether it was me or her getting jealous, we'd argue about something like that. That was more relationship based. Where now she was arguing about trivial things like, you know, say that I didn't put the straw in the cup or something. How come you didn't put a straw in this cup? That, you know, just start flying off the handle. Right. And I knew, I mean, it all started when she found out that, you know, I lost everything in the stock market. So, for the next couple of weeks, that's all she did. And then finally, I think the last straw was, she called me from like work or something, or no, she was at home and I was out, and she goes, where are you? And I said, I'm just out driving around. And then she goes, why are you out driving around? And I go, because I'm trying to clear my mind. Do you mind? And that's all I said, right? I said, I'm trying to clear my mind. Do you mind? And she goes, no, I don't mind. That's all I need to hear. Click. You know, don't talk back to me like that. Or she said something like, don't yell at me. I didn't. I was just being sarcastic. But she hung up the phone. And that was it. She left. Turned out she already had somebody lined up. She was really attractive at the time. Had some dude lined up, had a house. Guy had a house in, I don't know where it was, but he had his own house. So she immediately packed up and proceeded to leave very coldly. I mean, we were having some problems back then, and you know, but that was, if that had not happened, if the stock market thing had not happened, and I still had my money, that relationship probably would have went maybe another year, right? But because that happened, I mean, that was the beginning of the end, and she was just looking for reasons to jump ship. And granted, she wasn't getting any younger. She was on the cusp of 30, and I think biologically she knew it, and she was like, you know, I don't want to miss my boat here, and she jumped ship. Right? So she jumped ship to this other dude that she proceeded to date for longer than she dated me. She probably dated that guy for like I want to say at least 5-6 years, maybe longer than that, right? However, this guy never put a ring on her finger, never married her, and obviously that didn't work out because she ended up moving to this really rotten area of Hayward, California. That's very trashy, very dangerous, and I would not want to roll by there at night, put it that way. Meanwhile, right, another success story. Meanwhile, I got back on my feet, right? I mean, I went broke at that time. She left. I was totally just down in the dumps, but I was just so shocked of everything that happened and the speed of which it happened, where I lost everything and I lost her, my girlfriend at the time. I was just, the speed of it was just so fast. I didn't even have time to process it. So it was hard to really feel depressed. It was more like I was a little just kind of like shaken, right? And so just as a reminder, this is not my ex from 2006, right? This is not her. Okay, this is my ex from 2000, right? The ex from 2006, by the time I met that chick, I already had my Fortune 100 job, and I was doing fine, and we both had money, so that was not why we broke up. However, this chick that went through this with me was the one from 2000, and I did do a whole video about this chick on my 33 Secrets channel. I think it was called something like, I can't remember what it's called, but it's on my channel. It's a pretty popular video. It's garnered close to maybe 150,000, almost 200,000, somewhere around there. It's got a lot of views, a lot of likes, because a lot of guys relate to it, right? They've been there. But anyway, so I didn't have time to be heartbroken or depressed about it, because we had been together a long time. We were having lots of problems, so it wasn't that shocking to me that she would use this as the excuse to finally pull the trigger and leave. Wasn't that shocking to me. Not only that, but I had been with her long enough. I was tired of fighting. I was tired of her shenanigans. I was tired of her like berating tone all the time and constantly taking shots at me. And I wanted a healthier relationship. So I'm like, screw you. Go be with this guy. This guy's an idiot. He'll find out real quick that you're hot, but you're a garbage piece of person. You're a garbage person, right? She had her good points. I think she had it's hard to say anything good about her, but I'm trying to think something good about her. I mean, she wasn't like terrible, but she was bad, And so when we broke up, I was just kind of like, okay, well, this is happening sooner than I thought. I lost my money unexpectedly. And I was more concerned with just getting back on my feet, right? And at the time too, which made this worse, was I was, I told you I used to get in a lot of trouble growing up, so I was still dealing with something from the year or two before that that I had to close up, like legally. So that was still on my plate. And I had to deal with that. So yeah, that was a pretty stressful year, right? That was not easy. That was going into like 2000, the early 2000s. So it was pretty stressful. And you know what? I was just like, there's not much I could do here, but just try to do the best I can. I always tell people that. If you can't do anything, just do the best you can. So I was like, I'll do the best I can. And in the meantime, I went to very briefly, I went to go sell cars. I never even mentioned that. I went to go sell cars because that's something I did in college. I sold cars to put myself through college, and I made pretty decent money doing that. I was always good with sales, right? And then I had a car business at one point where I was buying and selling cars in the early 90s. That was the business that allowed me to buy that Ferrari that you see on my Instagram. So I got the money to buy that car. But of course, as soon as I bought that car, I quickly went broke. And my friends used to make fun of me because they're like, dude, you got a Ferrari in front of your house. But I'd be like, can you come pick me up? I can't afford the gas. Why do you think I learned? Why do you think I don't buy stuff like this anymore unless you can afford it? This is why I have that coaching lesson also here on that channel where I say, if you can't buy it twice, you can't afford it, don't buy it, right? This is why I don't buy things like that anymore, right? I mean, people are like, buy the brand new Aventador. And I'm like, I don't want to drop 600 grand on a Lambo where, you know, I could get one that's a few years older, pay half of that, get the same experience, and then take the other 300 grand and invest it, or buy another business, or, you know, whatever else I want to do with that money. Regardless, so I was dealing with a lot in the early 2000s, and I was trying to turn things around, and you know, and it took a while, man. There were some dark days there, man. It was pretty dark, and I didn't have anybody to go through it with. You might be in this situation too. Girlfriend's gone. I didn't really feel like going out there and dating a whole lot just because of the predicament I was in. I didn't even have any money to date, right? I mean, I couldn't even like afford to buy a coffee or anything. I mean, so it was pretty dark during that time. And I remember, like, I finally got through the legal thing, got that taken care of, and I think that was like a huge weight off my back. But I mean, it was easier with my girlfriend because I was like, oh, cool, you know, she'll be here as I, you know, close this chapter up in my life of getting in trouble, not going to do this anymore. At least I'll have her by my side. Whereas now I didn't, and I was like, shit, I got to go through this by myself. And I did. And I didn't even want to tell family about it because I didn't want them to stress, right? I wasn't embarrassed. I just didn't want them to stress over it. And I just want to take care of it because that's what men do. I'm like, I got myself into it, I'll get myself out. So took care of that, and that was a huge weight off my shoulders, and stopped selling cars. I got a little bit of money in my pocket, and I was like, okay, cool. Now I move on to the next chapter of my life. And that's when I went ahead and started applying at these corporations because I was trying to knock one out of the park, and I was trying to get like a really high paying job because I didn't want to start a business for a while again because I was like, you know, I need to replenish my bank account. So I went to go work for this Fortune 100 company. Now you guys know it was AT&T. And I went to go work for them for a few years and replenished my bank account, bought a brand new Mercedes within 6 months of working there. I mean, got myself out of debt, fixed my credit. My credit score went back up, and really, really turned things around. And that was also the job where I was able to just rack up a bunch of savings that allowed me to fund myself while I started my businesses again, while I started my own business. I mean, it took a few years to finally, you know, get traction and all that, where I pretty much went broke again. However, that's a topic for another coaching video. But either way, it was enough to get me through those lean years where I really needed to learn the skill of how to build a business online, how to attract customers with this new like digital age and social media and all this, and how to use that to my advantage. But regardless, it all started there. I mean, it was started with like going broke and just not, I mean, as dark as it got during that time, and as much as I was going through, and I was like looking up at the heavens and going, just get me through this, get me through this, you know. I got through it, right? And things worked out for the best because you end up learning a lot. I mean, when you pull through things like that, and you might be going through a situation like that right now, and it's hard to see it when you're knee deep in the swamp, right? It's hard to see the forest through the trees. But this is really what strengthens you as a man. This is what really gives you character as a man, is going through these dark days and finding ways to get around these obstacles, finding ways to be more creative, to get yourself out of this mess, and then becoming better. Okay, becoming a better person for it. Not only you know, mentally and spiritually and physically, but financially also. Right? You just become better than you were before, and then it gets to a point where you feel like, you know, nothing can really phase you or, you know, or bring you down anymore. And this is why, when it happened again, when the 2008 housing market crash happened, I mean, I wasn't in real estate or anything like that, so I didn't lose a house, but I had left my corporate job around that time. So I was living off my savings. So over the next few years, even if I wanted to get a job, it would have been very, very difficult, right? And so I had no choice but to try to make my business work, which is what I did. I focused on that business 24/7 as my bank account started to evaporate, right? All my money that I earned in corporate America started to evaporate. I almost sold my car at the time too, because I just, I needed money. I mean, I didn't. I held on to it, but it was very difficult, right? But it was what I went through in the second time in 2008 was so much easier. As broke as I went, building my business, not knowing what was going to happen, I was as calm as ice, right? I had utmost belief in myself because I had pulled myself out earlier, right? I had pulled myself out in 2000. So I had that reference experience in my head. Like I had done it before, I can do it again. Right? Only now, uh, I had on my resume a Fortune 100. I was like, really, if things get that bad, and they got bad, and it got to the point where I did apply at a second, for another company, and because I didn't like being broke, and Adobe Software hired me, and I was supposed to report to work like the following Monday, and I didn't. I decided to not take that job and then just keep going forward with my business because I had so much belief in myself. And that really came from going through what I went through in 2000, where I lost everything and I literally went broke. My girlfriend left me. I mean, I was able to handle it much better, right? It wasn't, yeah, I mean, I pretty much came out fairly unscathed, However, that was the time I went broke. It was in the early 2000s. Again, I went broke again in 2008, but that was really by my own choice. It wasn't like I was invested in the stock market or real estate and I lost everything. I knew not to make that mistake again. Even to this day, the money I invest in the stock market is, it's a very small percentage of what, it's nothing that's going to kill me, put it that way. I mean, stock market's crashing right now and I'm fine. Right, it's continuing to pay me dividends and stuff like that. I'm fine with it. Everyone's losing money right now in the stock market. I'm fine with that. It's not, again, I just look at it. It's like, okay, it'll come back at some point. I don't need that money. I can just leave it in there. It's not a big deal. But in 2000, I couldn't do that. So I constantly kept pulling the money out and then buying in when it dipped. Right. And I was like, oh, it keeps crashing. It keeps crashing. It kept crashing and crashing until I finally had nothing. And, or like $50. I think it was even less than that. It was like $45 or something. Crazy. It was pretty crazy. However, if you're going through that now, don't lose hope. Don't give up. Don't quit on yourself because nobody is going to come and help you, right? And you shouldn't expect anybody to either. I mean, if you got yourself in a certain mess, you got to find a way to pull yourself out because, again, that's what will give you grit. That's what will give you character, and use it as an opportunity to do that because you're probably not going to go through many of these really hard times in your life where you hit a bad patch, and instead of looking for help and instead of looking for somebody to throw you, a lifesaver, just be like, I'm gonna get myself out of this. I'm gonna figure it out, right? I'm gonna figure it out, and I'm gonna get back on my feet, and I'm gonna get back on top, right? And I'm gonna make things happen. All right, and you will. So it's Cash snoring, by the way. Everyone's always like, "Hey, who's snoring?" There's my dog. Either way, guys, let me know if that added value to your life. If you have any questions, any comments, anything you'd like to share, drop them in the comments below. I always love to see guys my comments. I always love to read them. I don't share too many of these personal stories too often, but if I think it's helpful, I'll share it with you. So I hope it helped you, because it was definitely a situation that I'll never forget, and I would not want to go through again. But I mean, if it, whatever happens, I can handle it, right? I mean, that's. Sometimes life just throws you a curveball and you have no choice but to deal with it. And so guess what? You deal with it. But I hope if you're going through this now that you'll see that there is light at the end of the tunnel. You're not going to solve the problem with this at the same level of consciousness that created the problem. You have to think differently and you have to think outside of the box if you're in a situation like that right now financially, if you're struggling. Okay, so that's my best advice to you. But again, drop the comments below. Until next time, this is Matt Cross from AlphaMaleSecrets signing out. Don't forget to smash that like button below. Also hit the notification bell right next to it so you're notified whenever I release a brand new coaching video here on the YouTube. More importantly, guys, please make sure you subscribe to my channel. Helps me out a ton when you actually subscribe to my Alpha Male Secrets channel. I've been checking my analytics, man, and too many of you guys are still not yet subscribed to the Alpha Male Secrets channel here on the YouTube. So please make sure you're subscribed as well. Helps me out with the YouTube algorithm, and you know, just help a brother out and subscribe. And for you guys who love my work and all of this amazing content I'm teaching you here on the Alpha Male Secrets, the best way to support my work is becoming a premium member of my premium Alpha Male Secrets channel, which I am hosting on a private platform away from YouTube. And the reason I'm doing that is because I'm protecting my content from YouTube in the event they try to shut me down one day. They won't be able to, because all my content will be protected. It is being protected on my private platform. So this is the absolute best way to support my work, is becoming a premium Alpha Male Secrets subscriber on my premium Alpha Male Secrets channel, which is being hosted on a private platform. Right now it's only $1 for the entire first month of premium Alpha Male Secrets content from me. So take advantage of it. Okay, all you need to do is click the link below in my description box. It will take you over to my website where you can get signed up right now. It just takes 2 seconds. So do that now, and I will see you in my next coaching video. I'm out.